conditioned by the staggering cultural influence of J.R.R. Tolkien to believe that fantasy is a genre of swords, dragons, and those unnecessarily complex maps of continents that look suspiciously like a slightly melted version of Western Europe. But fantasy is not a setting. It is a psychological function.
But yeah, whoever I talked to, I find very convincing at the moment.
You guys are basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered.
There's no one in this family can stop this chat.
Also a great tragedy, he committed suicide. Do you think he committed suicide? I really do. I was really shaken by this tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to give him the time about what happened. It looks like a suicide.
You know, that's how a lot of us were raised, is you just grab their hands and do it for them, and it doesn't matter if they're screaming, you just make them do the thing that you know is the right thing to do. We need to decolonize that from ourselves. Those internalized carceral authoritarian approaches, that's often what we're using with other people. They are colonized, they are trapped in this system. It's not going to be values aligned, and it's also just not going to work. It doesn't work. Like, we don't have the people, so what we have been doing is not effective enough.
I was really like, man, this doesn't look like suicide. I'm confused. Okay, so I'm not being crazy here. Well, but then after the second thing came out and the more detail, I was like, okay.
Which is okay. Put in the corner for you. You'd also be serving a higher purpose. Everyone else? 2 years, 3 tops. I will control enough votes to get the laws changed. And then we won't have to lose our best people. We won't have to lose on Mozart. We won't have to lose on Martin Luther King. We will finally be able to conquer death. We will finally be able to conquer death. Well, first of all, you become a cyborg. From the mid-war period, what was fascism? It was what happens to capitalism when it can't deal with the crisis of its own making. When the capitalist class lose control, they pull the levers and they don't work anymore. Like hapless pilots who are in the cockpit and suddenly the levers don't respond to their pulling and pushing. Fascism is the go-to ideology and the go-to practices which allow them to remain in power. The fascists have always been particularly useful to the ruling class. Every time the ruling class made a mess of it and could not contain the crisis of its own making.
The future, my friend, is products. You are a product, I'm a product. The world is a product. And for those of us who can successfully embrace that, I'd say the future is golden. To the future. People in the family's future. Hear this. Palantir, OpenAI, and Meta executives were just sworn in as lieutenant colonels in the United States Army.
This stalling internet is what's being used to pay for humanity getting to Mars. So it's like thank everyone out there for stalling, because you're helping secure the future of civilization and helping make life multi-planetary and helping make humanity a space-faring civilization. Thank you.
All things that are damaging our planet, those will be done off-Earth. But we get to have both.
By 2050, 1 in 4 properties, 8 million in England, will be at risk of flooding.
We get to preserve this unique gem of a planet, which is completely irreplaceable. There is no plan B.
Where the site's going at the moment, we're going to see a rise of about 2 degrees centigrade or so by the middle of this century.
Incredibly big, fun, blockbuster, disaster ride.
It's a possibility to grow crops in the UK. But that's possibly the least of our worries, because there'd be a major water security crisis. We calculate that there'd be
We'll solve that problem later.
Water from the winters to get through the summers in the southeast of England.
We have to save this planet, and we shouldn't give up a future for our grandchildren's grandchildren of dynamism and growth. We can have both.
Both excuses for laziness. Amazon Prime, but with human beings.
Something that's always baffled me, everyone in Silicon Valley, a lot of moguls are building bunkers. What do they know that we don't? What do they fear that we maybe should?
I think they have the same fears you do, they just have more money.
Climate change is the most horrifying threat that our species has ever faced. It's also the great equalizer. Nobody can truly be safe from it.
something may happen that closes that window and prevents life from extending beyond Earth, and that risks the extension of life, or at least consciousness as we know it, and that would be a terrible thing. Life is a terrible thing to waste.
There is a connection between global Israel and fascism and populist leaders and lack of social justice, lack of ecological justice, lack of any global plan to deal with poverty, with immigration. There is a connection. As long as global Israel is powerful, all these issues are marginalized. Issues that need global cooperation. The legal system of the world is not working. Any success in struggling or confronting ecological injustice, economic injustice, social injustice is a success of fighting against the injustice in Palestine.
There's always problems in life. You know, this problem, solve that problem, solve that problem.
How do I actually write a script that allows me to target terrorists?
But you know, there need to be things that inspire you. There need to be things that make you glad to wake up in the morning and say, I'm looking forward to the future.
Take in a nice deep breath. Will you do a deep breath with me? That's anyone listening to this.
I love you guys.
Feel free to partake in this. We're all going to do it together. Help us connect and grow.
This is my life's work, Max.
Yeah, there you go. You're still alive.
Israel and its Western allies, James Baldwin saw, is heading towards, quote, the terrible probability that the dominant nations, struggling to hold on to what they have stolen from their captives and unable to look into their mirrors, will precipitate a chaos throughout the world, which, if it does not bring life on this planet to an end, will bring about a racial war such that the world has never seen. The funding and arming of Israel by the United States and European nations as it carries out genocide has imploded the post-World War II international order. It no longer has credibility, and the West cannot lecture anyone now about democracy, human rights, or the supposed virtues of Western civilization. At the same time that Gaza produces vertigo, a feeling of chaos and emptiness, it becomes for countless powerless people the essential condition of political and ethical consciousness in the 21st century, just as the First World War was for a generation in the West.
Take those to Mars. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet?
And then one fine day the bourgeoisie is awakened by a terrific boomerang effect. The Gestapos are busy, the prisons fill up, the torturers standing around the racks in bed, refine, discuss. People are surprised, they become indignant. They say, how strange. But never mind, it's Nazism, it will pass. And they wait, and they hope, and they hide the truth from themselves. And it is barbarism, the supreme barbarism, the crown of barbarism that sums up all the petty barbarism. That it is Nazism, yes, but that before they were its victims, they were its accomplices. That they tolerated that Nazism before it was inflicted on them. That they exalted, that their eyes became condemned because, until then, it has been applied only to non-European peoples. That they have cultivated that Nazism, that they are responsible for it, and that before engulfing the whole edifice of Western, Christian civilization is red waters, capitalism, seas, and took us from every class.
All power to the people. It's very hard I didn't understand, okay? But it's hard I didn't understand just because I just but you've been brainwashed.